Hi everyone, it's Ronnie from YouTube and we're here talking about a raw vegan fruitarian diet again, and this channel is about my own personal journey in that crazy world of the raw vegan fruitarian diet. And recently a video went up by a friend of mine and someone that I've met a couple of times, Kate Fruit Flowers. And I met Kate at the Woodstock Fruit Festival a couple of times. Very nice person, very cool person. Included some of my music in one of her videos. I think that video's reached tens of thousands of people. I've got quite an interesting story about that, but I won't tell it right now because I've not got a lot of space on my phone to make this video. But have no beef with Kate Fruit Flowers, but that doesn't mean that I can't disagree with things that she's said, or with her recent video about why she's not a fruitarian, or actually she regrets being a fruitarian. She regrets it. And the first, I've actually written down some notes, I'm a little bit prepared for this video. So the first thing I want to say is, I don't know what she means by fruitarian. I don't think she means she ate just fruit. But in the video she's kind of implying eating just fruit is a bad thing. I don't know if she ever just ate fruit. Also in the video, I don't think she ever says anything about specifically feeling bad doing that, or developing any problem, or having any particular issue. I don't see her saying anything about that. So I'm not sure what it led to or what the problem was. Maybe she doesn't want to be public about it. I don't know. But she didn't specifically say anything bad about it, just that she thought it was maybe bad and stuff like that. So I don't know if she was just ate fruit for years. I don't think she did that. I don't know if she was 100% raw. I think she might have been on and off. I don't know if she was fully for a long period of time. I don't know for sure. I don't think when I met her she was, and that would have been a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. I think she said she was first at Woodstock. So I don't think, maybe she didn't. Maybe she wasn't raw then. But I think she was at some point. So I don't know what exact diet she was doing or what her complaint exactly was about it, other than the fact that she was just saying that it was probably not healthy and stuff like that. So anyway, one of the first things she was talking about was about the diet being really low fat, really low protein. My argument is that it's not low fat or protein, it's appropriate amount of fat and the appropriate amount of protein, especially 80-10-10-ish levels. And as humans, we just have a weird idea of diet and of food. We're just so used to people eating this really weird diet compared to other animals. Not compared to other humans, but compared to other animals. We take a plate, we have 4 or 5 different foods which we assemble from different corners of the world, process them in completely separate ways, add stuff to them to give them flavour, expose them to huge amounts of heat so that they soften down and break down, so that we are capable of consuming them. And then we think it's weird if someone eats bananas. We think that's weird. But let me paint that picture again. You're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ingredients from around the world, different places, different sources, processing them in different ways, adding flavourings to them, adding colours to them to make them into something that you can and then exposing them to huge amounts of heat, which takes away nutrients, creates carcinogenic compounds and things like that, and then eating them. This is all, listen how common sense that is. That's exactly what it is, but we don't think that's crazy. It's not what any animal does. It's nothing like what any animal does. And it's not that it's not delicious, it's not that it's not tasty, it's just that it's not healthy, ultimately, or it's not the healthiest thing. In that environment of people thinking that's normal, the low fat, the amount of fat or protein is much higher because people are eating a diet that is too high in fat, far too high in fat. But we'll talk about protein first. The first thing about protein is human beings have never ever, at any time ever, never ever had any problem with getting enough protein in their diet. Not once, not ever, not any single person has ever had any protein problem. Protein is an essential nutrient which we make. We make it out of amino acids from the plants that we consume. If you study, there's a tribe that just ate sweet potatoes in some forest somewhere, and if you studied their diet, because they were just eating sweet potatoes, they actually excreted more protein than they ate. Well, what was happening there? They make the protein. They eat the plants. The body makes the protein, actually makes too much protein, gets rid of it. Our body is so efficient at recycling protein that we don't require a very high amount. And then the killer blow in the argument is that the appropriate amount of protein for human babies when they're growing in mother's breast milk is 5%. 5% of total calories. Fruit averages, 5% of total calories from protein. I'm pretty sure that Kate knows all these arguments, knows all this stuff, but maybe she's forgotten it, I don't know. Protein isn't an issue for anyone. Low protein is not an issue. And it's just a misunderstanding of protein. The nutrients the macronutrients you really want to think about are fat and carbohydrate, because that's where you get your energy. That's where you're going to get the bulk of your calories. And that's far more important in terms of your performance, how you feel, is your carbohydrates, your fat. And Kate's talking about the 80-10-10 diet, the 80-10-10 ratio. And people have gone on about this and some people say, I feel better eating more fat, I feel better like this, I feel better. Well, when we actually study this stuff, when we look at the performance of people when they are consuming high fat foods, especially if you're talking about sports performance, what we find is that people do not perform as well on a high fat diet. The body doesn't perform as well. The body cannot get the blood and the sugar into the cells as efficiently as possible. That's why athletes, when they are performing, when they are cycling, when they are running, they consume carbohydrates. They often consume sugar because it's the quickest, easiest, simplest form of fuel to get into the body. The problem with fat is people eating too much fat. That is the major issue in society. People eat too much saturated fat, leads to heart disease, diabetes. It's a contributor towards cancer. Obviously, it's a contributor towards obesity. So I don't like an opinion where someone says, hey, you should be happy to eat more fat or whatever. No one's eating too little fat. No one, even someone that's just eating fruit, you're getting your fats, you're getting your omega-3s, omega-6. So the rest of it is a nonsense, DHA, EPA, whatever you want to call them. Cholesterol, these are things we make. We do not require these things. The reason is that we are a frugivore. We are adapted over millions of years to eat fruit. Primates go back eating fruit 30 million years. That's the lineage we come from. So we are adapted, designed to seek out fruit, to eat fruit. Everything about our being is fruit related. And that's why she called herself Kate Fruit Flowers. That's why she had that awakening. Maybe she doesn't have that awakening at the moment, but I imagine that she aligned herself with that. I don't see it as a cult. It's the human race. This is an aspect of our real and true natural identity, whatever you want to call it. She talked about the vegan diet blowing up on YouTube. The vegan diet didn't blow up on YouTube. The raw vegan diet blew up on YouTube. Let's get this right. Let's get our history lessons right. When I researched the vegan diet in 2011, it was raw vegans that were kicking ass on YouTube. They pushed, that's why so many people were trying out raw vegan, because they were looking up vegan and there was, animal rights videos and here's animals killing, whatever. But when people were actually saying, how do I do this diet and stay healthy? They were finding Durian Rider, Freely, Fully Raw Christina, Dan the Man, and a whole bunch of people like that. There wasn't any of these plant-based channels and all that stuff. These were promoted by Durian Rider. All of that stuff, I mean, people like Durian Rider said that. I'm not the biggest fan of everything that Harley's done, but he promoted Dr. McDougall, he promoted the China study, he promoted those things over and over and over and over again. And then all these people came in the back of Harley, stole, kind of did what he was doing, and started promoting a cooked diet or a plant-based diet more. And and it was all the people that Harley had turned them on to, like John McDougall and all that stuff. And so it's funny to me when people say, "Oh, the vegan diet blew up." It was raw veganism that was blowing up because people were passionate about it. They wanted to send out a message of health. They wanted to get the message out there. And so many people, and Kate as well, built a following from the raw vegan community and the raw vegan niche, whatever you want to call it, and is now turning her back on it because now she's built a following, and the following are saying, "Hey, we're too lazy. We don't really care about health. Can you just maybe do videos about, eating avocado toast or something like that, or whatever, something they're prepared to do." Her video is a little bit, sugar phobic, fruit phobic. She's got all these worries about sugar. What is the problem with sugar? It just goes into your bloodstream, goes into your cells. It fuels your cells. It is it is the only thing that fuels your brain. Glucose, blood glucose. It's in your blood all of the time. The only problem with sugar is when it cannot get into the cells, and that's called, diabetes. But when people talk about sugar causes spikes, no, your terrible diet over years and decades that your parents conditioned you onto has destroyed your body's ability to actually utilize the sugar as it should. And now you're getting diabetic, and now you're blaming the sugar and the fruit. You never ate any fruit. How can you blame fruit for, diabetes and stuff like that? She talks about balance in the video. Why is it balance? Do we take this food and this food and this food and we have them all together and that's balance? That's not balance. That's taking unbalanced things and trying to balance it together. Balance is having a food that is already balanced. The food is perfectly balanced for you. You don't need to balance it out. That's what the fantastic thing about fruit is. It is already balanced. Eating only fruit is bad for your health. Well, there's no science on that. Eating only fruit is bad for your health. There's zero scientific research. It's all supposition, it's all theory, but we don't see it. The people I know who have eaten only fruit for long periods of time, I've not seen them have really terrible health. I've seen them have much better health than most people. Sugar is the same as fruit. That's just not true. There is some problems with refined sugar, nowhere near as bad as saturated fat, animal protein, salt, things like that. Things that Kate consumes more of in her diet now, apart from animal protein. But sugar is not the same as fruit. But it's not a problem either. It's not causing disease apart from tooth decay. It's not a major cause of the diseases that kill people, take away their vitality. But I want to go into all that stuff. So I don't agree with her on a lot of that stuff. But she's talking about Woodstock Fruit Festival. And she goes, "Yeah, when I was at Woodstock, I noticed a lot of people were really skinny and they had sunken eyes. And I've been to Woodstock 7 times. To me, that's not an honest reflection of the people at Woodstock, of the presenters at Woodstock, of anyone. There is you do see a few people that are skinny. It's actually the minority. You see athletic people, you see overweight people, there's an occasional obese person. It's mostly people in the healthy range, because most people aren't actually on a 100% fruitarian diet at Woodstock anyway. Very few. And the people that are really skinny, when you talk to them, it's like, "Oh, I did a fast, I did a juice fast, I did a cleanse." It's always people that have come off a cleanse, off a fast, or off something. She was kind of mentioning that the presenters look really bad. People say this stuff all the time. You don't know these people's story. You just, we make these assumptions about how a person looks. You don't know what they went through in their life, about what they've been exposed to, about what sicknesses they potentially had that they dealt with the raw vegan diet. We don't really know. But the idea that everyone looks old and everyone, I just don't see that. And I don't see their performance showing that. And all of the presenters at Woodstock, I'm just trying to think, like, who are the ones that she's talking about that look, skinny and their eyes are sunken in and stuff. And what does even that mean? To be skinny, it just means that you're underweight. It's not like a big deal. But I don't even know. I can't even think of anyone. I can't really think of who she's talking about. And yeah, so I don't know if she's reflecting on this, because like, it's just totally not a reflection of people at Woodstock, and it's not a reflection really of who's doing the diet 100% or not, who's really doing it, who's not, who knows. Some people are. There are certain presenters that might not look that great or might look better, but what do they actually eat? We don't know all the time. So I guess it all comes down to me that some people don't want to do this diet. They don't want to commit to it for a whole variety of reasons. Why they turn against it, I don't know. Why they turn against the whole thing. Oh, I was in a cult. I was in this. There's no cult. No one's forcing you to do this. No one's got a compound anywhere that they're storing people up. So you can do this diet or not and be happy. But it takes time to do this, and people do it wrong, and people make mistakes all the time. So that's the end of this video. We're running out of space on this phone. Let me know your comments and stuff below, and feel free to share. Thank you very much.